I was working as a junior nurse in a surgical ward of a massive, maze-like metropolitan hospital. To be completely honest, I was more of an errand girl or a head nurse, doing all the grunt work nobody else wanted to do. One late evening, she ordered me to go down and retrieve the physical scan results for a patient. Our digital system had crashed that night, and I had to walk to the radiology department on foot, which was in a completely different wing of the building. I looked out the ward window. A terrible Tyrannian rainstorm was raging outside. The wind was violently whipping heavy raindrops against the glass. I was a single mother raising a young son. I simply couldn't afford to get soaking wet, catch a cold, and go on a sick leave. I needed the hours, so with a heavy sigh, I decided to take the underground corridor. The underground tunnels of this hospital are just endless catacombs. It is an oppressive, claustrophobic network of hallways, only about 6 feet wide. The walls are lined with ugly, dim tiles left over from when the building was constructed in the 70s. Here and there, you pass heavy unmarked metal doors leading to all sorts of technical and utility rooms. I took the service elevator down to the basement level. The navigation system down there consisted of faded colored lines painted directly onto the linoleum floor. The red line led to the right, to the morgue. The blue line went straight to oncology, and the yellow line veered left to Wing B, where radiology was located. That was exactly where I needed to go. I walked at a fast, purposeful pace, trying not to look behind me. I'm naturally a very impressionable and anxious woman. The slightest creak in the dark can send me into an instant panic. I took a left, following the yellow line, but the hallway soon branched off again, twisting somewhere deeper into the underbelly of Wing 1. The lines on the floor here were so worn out by cards and time that they were almost invisible. My God, I thought with irritation. They built these passages like dwarves in the mine. In my entire time working there, I had only been in these tunnels twice, and both times I was accompanied by a senior nurse who knew the way. But now I was absolutely alone. As I walked further, I began to notice that many of the fluorescent lights on the ceiling had burned out. The stretch of path ahead was incredibly gloomy, submerged in thick shadows, with only a dim, flickering patch of light visible far in the distance. The tunnel felt endless. I was surprised that I had to walk so far just to reach Wing B, but I stubbornly kept walking. I reached a particularly dark section of the corridor. Here, massive rusted industrial pipes ran along the walls, plunging directly into the concrete floor. Beyond them was pitch-black darkness. The air here was freezing cold. And then, from the thick shadows behind those pipes, a man stepped out abruptly. I flinched violently, letting out a small gasp, and pressed my hands to my chest. My heart started hammering against my ribs. He didn't move toward me. He just stood there, perfectly still, and said in a deep, unnaturally calm voice, "Don't be afraid. Turn back. There is no way forward from here." I swallowed nervously and asked in surprise, "Why?" He stared right through me and replied, "Because you took a wrong turn, mother. This path leads straight to the morgue." My eyes finally adjusted to the gloom, and I was able to get a good look at him. He was wearing an impeccably clean, crisp white button-down shirt. He had a thick, flawlessly groomed black mustache, but what struck me the most were his eyes. They were like small lumps of coal, absolutely dark, cold. He wasn't blinking. A deep sense of wrongness washed over me. Without saying another word, I turned around and walked timidly back toward the light. I reached the main intersection, found the correct faded sign on the wall, and hurried toward where the lamps burned brighter. Suddenly, I heard the heavy metallic rumble of freight elevator doors opening. Someone had arrived at the basement level. I saw two tired orderlies and a couple of medical students rolling out a metal gurney. On it lay a thick black body bag. The orderlies were explaining to the students how to navigate to the morgue's receiving area. I instinctively tagged along with their group. I was so terrified of being alone in those tunnels that I thought I would rather go outside and run through the pouring rain than wander around here alone again. I decided to just walk with them to the morgue lobby, because from there I knew the way to the ground floor exits. I walked with them. We arrived at the receiving area, and while they were filling the paperwork, I popped into the main morgue office. There, I saw Linda. She worked at the morgue. She was the cosmetologist who washed and dressed the deceased for their discharge to the funeral homes. She walked out to me holding a cup of coffee, looking absolutely exhausted. She sighed and said that it had been a totally packed house tonight. She had already dressed 6 deceased people and handed them over to their grieving families. But the 7th one, she smiled sadly. The 7th one turned out to be such a handsome man. I chuckled nervously. Are you out of your mind, Linda? Are you so tired of being lonely in this basement that you're checking out dead bodies? Linda just rolled her eyes. I'm serious, come look, she said, leading me toward one of the metal gurneys in the corner of the room. She grabbed the zipper of the black body bag and pulled it down, revealing the face and upper chest. Look, she stated proudly. They said he was a bachelor, a real handsome guy, isn't he? I looked down. My blood turned to pure ice. My breath caught in my throat. Lying in the bag was a dead man. He was wearing an impeccably clean, crisp white bottom-down shirt that Linda had just buttoned up. He had a thick black mustache, and his eyes, they were slightly open. Absolutely black, lifeless lumps of coal staring up at the ceiling. It was the exact same man who, just 10 minutes ago, had blocked my path in the dark tunnel. The man who told me I was heading to the morgue. I backed away from the table, unable to tear my eyes away from his pale face. I started screaming. I probably screamed so loud it made their ears ring, but I could never bring myself to explain to Linda why I was having such a violent hysterical breakdown. I just turned around, ran out through the double doors into the street, and sprinted to my car in the freezing rain. The face of that bachelor burned itself so deeply into my memory that I still see those cold black eyes in my nightmares. Ever since that exact night, no matter how hard it rains outside, I have never gone down into those hospital subterranean passages alone again.